Hi everyone, welcome back to Dan and the Doctor, and today we have a very special guest. The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, will be joining us shortly to talk all things from who's better, the Hunter or the Central Coast, being absent from Dan's burger calendar, and also to talking about a beer named after him. So stay tuned.
And to all the listeners that listened and watched our first episode, thank you so much. The commentary we've got from that first episode has been amazing. It's blown us both away. We will continue to make new editions every month, and these will drop around the middle of the month each month. So make sure you like and subscribe each time they come out. And look forward to hearing a bit of fence sitting, talking about the Central Coast, and a few other things. So we'll see how we go.
God's
Cheers,
country,
guys.
people. Bye.
God's country. Albo, welcome to Dan and the Doctor.
Good to be here. Welcome to my office.
Oh, what an office it is too. It's taken us a while to set up in here, but we are here. So
Beautiful.
Thank you for coming on the
Congratulations
podcast.
on getting through security.
Yeah. We were lucky we didn't have to do it. That's why we got our staff here. So they were the ones that had to do it. First off, how did you get involved in this? How did you get involved in politics, Albo?
Well, I was born with three great faiths: South Sydney Rugby League Football Club,
We will get
Catholic
to that too.
Church, and the Australian Labor Party. So my mum was in the party. I grew up with her as a single mum, and my grandparents when I was very little, and they were in the Labor Party. My grandfather was a printer, so he used to do all the printing for Pat Hills and for various people in the city council area as well. So it was a natural thing. And then I had an experience where my first political experience that really got me into a campaign was the Conservatives got control of Sydney City Council, and they wanted to sell my house. They wanted to privatise all the public housing. And so we organised a campaign on that. I was a very young kid.
How old are we talking?
I was about 12, out there collecting petitions.
So your first campaign at 12?
Well, they're trying to sell your house. It was, so my first campaign was an anti-privatisation campaign, and that got me to meet some councillors. Robert Tickner, who went on to become a minister in the federal Labor government, and others. There was a group of active people. I got to know them. They encouraged this young lad to go along to the Labor Party branch at Camperdown when I was very young, still at school. And it kind of rolled on from there.
Good stuff.
I want to take a different tact because I'm from the Central Coast. Now, I believe there's a beer named after you. You know, during the election there was there was one mentioned. Can you tell us a bit about that? I'm very jealous, by the way. Very jealous.
I was away overseas on holiday, and I kept getting these weird messages about, I just drank an Albo, and I was like, what on earth's going on? And I got back to Australia, and I found that the fellow who runs Willie the Boatman Brewery names his beers after local identities. So there's Tempe Tim, and there's a range of products out there, all named after the local school teacher, the local plumber, local identities.
Yeah.
And he named a beer, Albo Ale. He didn't tell me or ask me, he just did it, and it took off, and is made twice. On two occasions it's made the best 20 beers in Australia.
Yeah, right.
So it's been quite good. So he's a bloke who started literally in his shed with a still, I guess, equivalent, and who now employs a dozen people, has a venue that's fantastic and good fun, and produces a good beer.
Sounds pretty good. What do you reckon, Dan? You reckon we could have a beer one day?
I reckon we should definitely try Albo Ale one day. And what do you think of it?
It's a good job. And I tell you what, you can do, forget polling, you know how it's going by how the beer's going.
Yeah, right.
So we should check the beer sales.
In
Let's
the
not
lead-
into the next election.
In the lead up to the campaign, I was very confident because he ran out. You couldn't make enough. So he ended up getting a lot of the craft breweries around the inner west were all making Albo Ale for him because he couldn't do enough at his relatively small establishment. So that was a sign we were going okay.
That is awesome. And that is a unique thing to have happen. Not many people have had a beer name out after them. So
Indeed.
we've had a couple of the Labor Party. We've had Hawk, now we've had you. So maybe you'll be next, Gordon.
I don't think it's me, mate.
Dan and the Doctor's beer.
Dan and the Doctor's
Well,
beer. I'm sure that'll go well.
Hawks was made as well
Yeah.
in my electorate in Marrickville.
Yeah.
It was after Albo Ale,
Yeah, well, after Albo Ale.
After.
So you were the pioneer.
the pioneer that started along there. The pioneer who didn't even know he was a pioneer.
And
It
so
just happened. So I have no commercial interest in this, it must be said.
I hope they give you a couple of cases every now and then, or boxes of it.
No,
No?
it's a
Imagine-
small business. He's
Yeah,
got
fair
to
enough.
make a living. But I have had the odd schooner for Nick's with Pat and all the people down at Willie's.
Yeah, nice. Good
And
work.
Hawke's Brewing's in your part of the world,
Yeah,
right?
that's in Marrickville as well. That's going gangbusters.
The Chinese restaurant good?
The Chinese restaurant is very good.
Yeah.
Old school.
I'm a prawn toast man, Dan. What are you?
I do love a good
I love
prawn
a prawn
toast,
toast.
but I don't mind the
Sweet and
dim
sour
sims
They
either.
have all the old school chicken chow mein, beef and black bean sauce. My favourite.
I'm more of a Mongolian lamb man
Yeah,
myself.
you can get that there.
Yeah, good.
Get
Very good.
all the old school Chinese dishes.
And now that we've just managed to get our way to food already, I'm going to just bring up the bar me discussion. Because you say you've got the best in all of Australia in your electorate.
well,
I
it's
know you've
just
got
a
a lot
fact.
to choose from. You get a lot to choose from, but Gordon and I have both got one each in our electorates, and they're pretty good.
One each.
Yeah.
We've got one every block for a while around Marrickville. But the place that goes gangbusters, Marrickville Pork Roll, that now has outlets in the CBD as well, it began literally in what was the public dunny in Illawarra Road, Marrickville, where they sold the public dunny for, I think it was about $850,000 or something like
Good
that.
buy
And
for a dunny.
It was this literally tiny little place, and that's where it began. And it was such a smart business because there's just one product really, and just this queue developed.
Yep.
And there's a queue there from about 10 o'clock in the morning to about 3 in the afternoon every day.
Have you, when you're there next, ask them how much pork they go through a day. It'll be phenomenal.
A lot.
Yes.
A lot, I think, is the answer.
We
How
should
much you
definitely
have for
give it a
lunch,
go. Yeah. And big is beautiful, Gordon. So you got to
know,
look
I
after
know.
You can
myself.
drop
I've got
by.
to feed the beast. Yes.
That you do. That you do. Haymarket, Emperor's Puffs, one time in Chinatown there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, they do these little custard-filled pastry-looking things out of this sort of cast iron oven-looking thing, and they pump out thousands per day. So I reckon that's where we're going next.
All right, let's give it
You
a go.
going to join us,
I'm
Albo?
not a fan of the custard tarts. I think
Oh yeah.
I
We'll
think
get you next time. We'll
No.
get you
All right,
next
so
time.
what is your favourite food?
favourite food. Gee, I reckon fish is my favourite food.
Could have you been any more boring with that? Fish.
Mate, you can do great things with fish, seafood.
Yeah, seafood's better. Seafood's
Seafood,
much better. Let's roll with seafood.
All sorts of seafood.
Very good, but fish is very good too. I've been told I have to eat a lot more fish. I've been having too much red meat apparently.
I'm trying to be healthy here. I mean,
Body's a
the
temple.
doctor here.
Yeah.
You know, I take my doctor's advice seriously.
I go out with a doctor regularly, right, and he doesn't take his advice.
Because I like burgers, Dan. You got me out of the burgers, mate.
And
I love a
so,
burger too.
as you know, I'm an athlete, right?
Absolutely.
An elite athlete, and getting ready
An
to try and get
Olympian
ready
and
for the
a-
next Olympics and things like that. You've tuned down a lot in the last couple of years, and myself, I have seen the other side of the scales go. What advice have you got for me there, Albo?
Fish! I just gave it to you. Fish. Cut down on the carbs.
Cut down the carbs, all right.
Bob Carr used to always say, don't eat the bread roll.
Don't eat the bread roll, okay.
Yeah.
I love carbs.
Good, yeah, it's a
I
good
really do.
filler
I'm
though,
sorry.
isn't
I
it?
really do.
Yeah, and the fish,
Well,
you're
one
going
of
to
the
get all the
things
double the fish.
I miss, West Marrickville Euros does the best hot chips in your life. And I miss a hot chip butty.
Yeah.
I would go to Kim's Hot Bread, buy the bread rolls, and then it changed hands a few years ago, but for a long time, since I was a kid, I was going there. It was the same family, Greeks, of course, family in Marrickville. And I reckon they had the original oil. They just never changed it from the 1950s, and that was the key.
master stock.
So you'd have these chips and you'd feel your heart go as you're eating them, but absolutely sensational.
You can hear the arteries hardening. It's good. You know what I like? I like cold chips on white bread, like chicken chips on white bread.
We've gone through. No, I haven't. We've gone through some of your strange eating things already in the first
night
episode.
Shift eating, Dan. That's good.
I feel this is going to be a continuing trend throughout this whole podcast. Yeah, I really do think it will be a theme.
I think so. You'll get onto tin chicken soon. I know.
I'm not there yet. I'm just not there.
Chicken?
He eats tin chicken.
No,
Good. It's quick. Tastes all right.
it's just wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Very
You
wrong.
can get tin fish, tin chicken. It's all right.
Yeah, well, maybe that's how I need to do to drop a few of the kgs. It's getting like tin fish.
There you go. Elite athlete.
Elite athlete. That's right. So let's talk about the Rabbitohs. And I have a massive fan who I fanboy over one person who's heavily involved in the Rabbitohs, and that's Russell Crowe. I think he's a legend.
Good man.
I know you know him.
I was texting with him today.
One day you'll have to put in an introduction here with him one day.
He is a great fella.
So
But you'll have to get on board.
he's a good shooter though. He's a very keen clay target shooter. He is as well. You may not have known that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he's got quite a few guns as well, and
I'm not
right
surprised.
into it. Yeah, not surprised.
He's got a big property there up near Coffs.
He does, yes. So how are we looking for next year? How are the Rabbitohs looking for next year? Honestly,
They are even when we were rubbish, I thought we were good at this time of the year. If you had have asked me, but I think you put together our back line, Latrell at the back, you got Campbell Graham and Jack White in the centres, feeding Alex Johnson on one wing, and young Munro is going to be, the boys tell me he's just as fast as AJ over 20 metres, scored 3 tries in the National Club Challenge. And then you got Cody Walker and Lockie Ilias as the halves. Like, it's an awesome pack, an awesome backline. And then the pack, you got Cam Murray, who's a hero. You've got
he's trying to name every
Junior
bloke.
and all
I know,
that.
you can't name every piece of the team.
Yeah, I can. They're all good.
Who's your team, Dan?
So Newcastle Knights is who I go with, but I grew up in Melbourne, so my very first team is Melbourne Storm.
That's disappointing.
But Newcastle Knights got a very soft spot for them.
You're the one.
But
You're the
can't-
fan.
Yeah, and you know what? We've had a successful time. So how can you not be unhappy with a team like that?
I've got to say, the thing I really like about Newcastle, 2 things. One is when we got kicked out of the comp, I was on the board of South. Newcastle, in their busloads, came down to the demos that we had to get us reinstated into the comp. And the second thing is, even when the team was going really badly, you'd go to the stadium there at Newcastle and they'd turn up, 20,000 fans. And, even though the chances were they weren't going to win or be competitive, it's a great culture.
Fantastic
Newcastle.
culture. They're a great group of fans. They get out and back everything. They're back
passionate.
in the soccer, they back in the NRL, they're back in basketball. Whatever's on, they back.
I think that'll lead us to an interesting question, Dan. One that Dan and I often argue about. Where Dan's from, there's a few vineyards every now and then, and some nice scenery. But obviously, the Central Coast has beautiful beaches. Your beautiful partner Jodie's from our wonderful part of the world. So the question on everyone's mind is Hunter or Central Coast?
It's a loaded question.
Very loaded.
And a very bad one to ask of the leader of the Labor Party. Both. I love them both. And Jodie, of course, is a King Cumber High School graduate, Royal Republic there.
Yep.
And so I've spent a bit of time on the coast.
Beautiful part of the world.
Not just her parents, her grandmother's still there.
Yeah.
Ringing into Triple M for competitions in her 90s. She is.
Got to do it.
Good on her.
Got to be in it
She
to win
won last year. She rang in and won a petrol voucher, and we were there with Jodie, and said, "But Grandma, you can't drive." She goes, "That's not the point. I won the competition. I won the voucher."
But we'll keep
Hunter's
arguing
got a
about
lot. Hunter's got a lot to offer, though, as you well know.
The Hunter
too,
is
Albo. So
sensational.
best wines in the world. Fantastic tourism, golf, like you would not believe, restaurants. Oh, the restaurants, Gordon. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. We have our little arguments and disagreements about the Hunter and the Central Coast, but we'll get through them together on this. So a couple of other questions around a few issues. So being the PM or Rabbitohs winning next year, what's better?
Oh, gee, I'm hopeful for both. And, well, it's a loaded question too.
A question time, mate.
This is yes.
I'll still be. The election will be after the Rabbitohs victory in 2024. Won't be till 2025.
That's a good little hint there, people, that the election will be after the NRL Grand Final.
The
sometime.
exclusive
So
here
there
on
we go.
Dan
You
and the
got it here. Dan and the Doctor. First breaking news. Good work.
Breaking news, the 2024 Grand Final will be held in 2024.
Good work.
And the Bunnies specials, get on board. Bunnies
not there with
Knights
you.
Grand Final.
I don't know how you do. I don't know how the Bunny supporters do it right. Everywhere you go, somewhere there's always a Bunny supporter.
Random
There's a bloody
South guy.
shirt everywhere. Just
Everywhere.
one shirt. Just
Doesn't
in the middle
matter
of
what
nowhere.
the-
Doesn't matter where you
matter
are in the
what
world.
sport.
Doesn't matter the
Gridiron
sport. Yeah,
In the
it
States,
amazes me.
wandering
Really
around,
amazes
they'll be there. Random South guy.
So Dan, I hear you've got a lot of famous people in that calendar that you...
Oh, we do. So
hump
yeah,
around,
we'll
mate.
bring this calendar out. So this is the Burgers of the Hunt of the 2024 edition. I'd like to just show Albo. We signed one for you. Maybe you could read it out to the audience.
What a
the
year,
listeners.
Albo. Mate, next year you can have a burger with me. Keep up the great work. Well, I
had
am-
difficulty reading that then,
There's
mate.
yourself. And, what school did you go to?
Look at that
Seriously.
handwriting.
I was from Melton.
You'd think you were the doctor. That's doctor's handwriting, that is.
I did leave school at 15.
You got the Hawaiian
So,
burger.
Yeah, we got some good burgers in there. We got some special guests this year
Gentlemen.
too. So we got Emma McBride's there.
Yeah,
Few
you
locals.
you didn't invite me.
We did.
mate.
We did.
You didn't invite me.
Unfortunately, you couldn't come at the time.
Richard, what's that look on his face?
What a great photo.
And what do you got on, mate? Before you take the photo, get
But we did it. That was an action shot. Albo.
you got a bit of your burger coming out of your gob there,
The next one.
mate. That's ordinary.
The next one. Whatever we do next, you'll definitely be in though.
There we go.
It just didn't work out for the right timing, unfortunately, for this year's calendar. But we'll go for the next one.
Pulled pork burger. Oh, we're getting fancy there.
This was good. Portuguese
Portuguese
chicken burger.
chicken burger.
Nice.
That was
Very good.
fantastic.
I had a few of them. I got the centre of the Portuguese community at Petersham.
Oh, nice. I hope they look after you.
It's good. It's good. Good food.
We'll get there soon, mate. We'll get there soon.
Waihi
will, we
Bakery. There you go. Works Burger. That looks good. That looks good. And there's Tanya, the Mochaccino Bar.
They do fantastic coffees there in Singleton, the Mochaccino Bar, and their burgers are great. They do like this
A
Hawaiian
beef burger
grill
with
thing too.
pineapple.
Oh, geez, it's good.
Everything's good with. There's Catherine King.
Looking good too. That we were
she
there.
on?
We were having she had a chicken burger and I had a beef burger there. They were delicious.
Pretty good, mate.
So that one's your one to keep.
Good.
And
Yeah.
a reminder.
And a reminder every day when
2025.
you see for 2025, you should be part of it.
And now I've got an invite. I had to do this podcast to get an invite. Pretty rude, really.
Well, on that note, look, thank you so much, Albo, for being on Dan and the Doctor. It's
Thank
been
you,
an absolute
guys. And
pleasure.
thanks for the amazing work that you're doing representing your electorates.
Cheers. Thank you, Albo. As Gordon said, thank you for being part of this. And this is our last edition before Christmas. So I think we should give a big Merry Christmas to all the listeners out there and to the people watching this on YouTube as well. Thank you for your amazing support in what we've done. And thank you, Albo, for just doing your job here and being the PM of the country. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas to everyone, and please drive safe on the roads. It's a busy time.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers, guys.
That's the last word, mate.